Hey guys, welcome back to RL Design Innovation. My name's Brian, and today we're going to look at Lightburn version 2.03, which is a release candidate. It's not in production, it's in beta testing, but I want to show you the upcoming features. There are so many great features in there, and one of the things that I really like, where you're going to see a huge difference, is with the camera module. They redid that from the ground up. It's awesome. I just have to tell you that. And we'll go look at some of the other features, some of the bugs that are known right now they're still working on, and just some of the new quick features that I love. But first, we're going to go to look at Lightburn 1.706 to give you a quick look at the screen, look at the camera, and then we're going to go right into the new Lightburn 2.03 release candidate. So let's get into Lightburn. Okay, I brought up Lightburn, and this is Lightburn 1.706. So a couple of things just to refresh everyone. This is the camera area. We're going to update the overlay. I'm going to fade that. This is my Xtool S1 using the camera kit on there. I'm going to fade it so you can see a little bit. I'm going to take off auto exposure and auto brightness just so we can play with it to get this in here a little bit clearer for us to work with. Right about there. Update overlay. And like typically, the first thing you're going to want to do when we put a different piece of material in there is first bring in the calibration for this material. So I'm going to import it and go over here, go to my profile, and this is a 3mm. So I'm going to bring that in. Then the next thing I'm going to do is make sure when I configured the offset before when I did the calibration that it is what it's supposed to be. And what I do right now is I manually write down, after I do a calibration by material, 3mm piece of wood, 2mm basswood, backerboard, whatever it is, I then go through and calibrate the offset as I show you my offset calibration video on how to calibrate a camera perfectly aligned with your system. So just to confirm, this we're doing 3mm, and it should be for 3mm wood minus, let's see, 0.20. So I'm going to change this over here, make this minus on the X 0.20, because that's what I have this documented as for calibration. And the Y for 3mm is 18.65. Now, once I enter this in, it's perfectly calibrated for this thickness of wood. Or in this case, material, I should say. So whatever I do, I engrave, I mark, whatever it is, it's perfectly calibrated. What I asked for the Lightburn team, because as I said, I'm beta testing the new release 2.03 release candidate. I asked them, when we do an export of the calibration file, which again, as a reminder, you right click on the camera after you ran through this material. If you go to laser tools, your calibrate camera lens, we've done that. You've done that before. That was the first thing you had to do with a camera system if you didn't have the calibration file. The next thing you do is for every time you put a different thickness of material in there, you calibrate the camera alignment, you go through the quadrants and align the crosshairs. Once that's done and everything's perfect, you right click on the camera, you say export camera settings, you give it a name, 3mm, 4mm, whatever, you save it, and then you have that calibration for that material thickness. So you do that for all the different types of materials that you work with. But what I've asked them to do, is it possible when we export this camera setting, can it export the offset calibration that I've configured when I went through my calibration? That's these numbers right here. Just again, the minus 0.20 and 18.65Y. If we can calibrate that, get that done, and then save that when we're doing the exported camera settings, it would be so much easier than having to write everything down into a notebook with all your different calibrations. Regardless, the other thing you're going to notice in a sec, when I do over here, you'll see square, circle, whichever, all these different symbols. Those are in one icon, and you'll see that in a sec when we go to 2.0. The other thing I like, there's a setting, if I do a square, right now it's stuck in that mode. I could keep putting squares and squares. In Lightburn 2.0, I'll show you there's a setting in there. You click that it automatically goes to a selector mode after you do an object. Really nice. So I just wanted to bring you in here. Now we're going to exit out. We're going to go to Lightburn 2.0 release candidate to show you the differences. At least, again, this is a pre-release, and caveat is some items may change. I know they're working on the theme a little bit, because right now when you typically do an Alt-P to see what the item's going to look like when it burns, or engraves or cuts, the coloring is not great right now. It's too dark, it blends in, you can't really see what's going on. I'll show you what I mean. So let's go over here. As you can see, they've made a lot of changes with the interface. As I was mentioning with the objects over here, you hit square. You see this little diamond right here? I click that, and here's all the different symbols you can do now. And they also added stars, double stars, and a couple other things. But if I click rectangle and I go on here right now, there it is. And now I'm not in that mode anymore. I cannot do another object of a rectangle in that sense. But say you want to go back, you go to settings, you go to right over here, which is editor settings, and right over here, switch to select mode after drawing shape. So in this case, if I wanted to revert back, unclick it, and every time I did an object, I drew it in, I could keep just doing more and more. I like it. I bring an object in and it goes into the image select mode, at least for now. If it becomes a pain later on, I could always switch it back, but I find it really nice. The other thing is, since we're over here, you'll see the node selector. They made this over here for selecting nodes. When you're breaking up objects, it's a click on and it brings up the menu. It's real nice. They have your common node selection tools, a subtraction add, and another selection as well. You click the arrow there. Real nice. So those are really some major changes right there. Let's go over to the camera side. If you notice, this is a lot clearer. If I update the display and I do a fade right here, coloring is really good. You can actually see the little scarring on this piece of wood. So it's really nice. So we're gonna do an engraving on here, but just let's make sure, if I go over here, just like before, I'm gonna import for this thickness, camera settings, 3mm, that's what I'm working on. And I just want to take your attention over here. Look at this for a sec. On the camera camera window, right-clicking, you have calibrate camera lens. The experimental one, I'm not going to show you on here since they're playing with it. It works with the tags and it's live. It works really good, but I'm not going to go through it. We'll do that in another video. And just so you know, they redid the whole camera system from the bottom up. They reprogrammed. It's a whole new module. It seems to be working so much better. And then you have calibrate camera lens and calibrate camera alignment. That's the material one. Again, you right click, export, etc. But let's just make sure, if we go to over here, they changed the laser tools. Now is where your device settings are. You go in there and you'll see my offset 0.20, minus 0.20, and 18.65 is what it's supposed to be for the 3mm basswood I'm using. So if I put on here, let's do a letter, just for the heck of it. I'm going to go right here, A, right there. And now I'm going to change the layers, cut layer, and it's a line. I'm going to do a fill, so we can do that. 120, I'll leave it right there for now. What the heck? I think that's real good. Let's see what this is. Let me delete that over there. I don't need the box from before that I had on here. So you see an A. If I go to laser, I have to do my focus first. My COM3 is my Xtool S1. I'm going to now move the laser over. As I always do, just move it over for the calibration. There we go. Almost there. Okay, one more. And we're right in the middle. I'm going to hit click focus. If you notice, I just cleaned from the last video. I had the filter material on here and it was dirty as heck. I just cleaned it and everything's working great. Okay, so we update the overlay. Okay, so let's do a test burn. Go to laser. Again, the menus are a little better here as well. If you look at the macros, you can actually add more and more macros to this system. So I click manage. I can add as many macros as I want. I don't think there's a limit from what I understand. So you can keep adding macros, where in the older versions you had 6 and that was it. So that's a nice feature right there. Anyway, let's go back to here. We are all focused. They are also, like I said, working on the actual icons in here for over here. They're still, again, the theme is not 100% completed. They're still playing with it. Let me do this. I still have my reminders come up. The graphics are not shown very well in the image, in the preview. And again, you can change your themes to dark, white, or whatever you have it set for Windows. I have it set on the dark, classic dark right now. But it is real nice. They're, the product, they're continuing to add enhancements and add more capabilities. There's my material library, my art library. Let me show you what I mean. If I brought something like this in, let me just shrink it just so it fits on here. Whoops. Okay, put it over here. You'll see it looks okay over here, but if I change the theme, I played with the theme in here. So if I go to edit, go to settings again, and go to display, right now I have it on classic dark. If I changed it to light, if I recall, let's see. It didn't work. So again, there's some issues there with their settings. Again, this is pre-release. You expect bugs. Let me go back to the theme of classic dark. And then from there, we'll go back. Okay, leave that right there. And let's just see how this came out. Let me get to the camera. Okay, it's done. Let me update the overlay. There we go. I moved it when I clicked it, but you get the hang of it. And zooming in, it's a lot clearer. Let me get this out of here so you can see. Again, the camera system is so much better. And again, if I don't have fade on here, it's a little, you could adjust over here. Let's go through these. You can adjust the width, the height, the X shift, and the Y shift. You can over here adjust the exposure. Right now, I don't have it on auto. If I put it on auto, then do capture again, and then do fade, so you can play with that again. Let me go back, auto exposure, disable it. And I'm gonna just play with it right there. Go back here, update it. That's really nice right there. Right there. That's really good quality. Look how nice that looks. Really nice. So it's working really, really well. The contrast, you have the white balance you can play with. I have it set for auto. There's a U adjustment for coloring, color camera. The zoom doesn't work with this camera. This is not an auto zoom camera. So I asked them for functions that don't pertain to a camera. If it's not available in Windows, if there's a possibility that they can hide that feature. I don't know if they can or not. The same thing goes for pan and the same thing for tilt. So as you can see, they're really refining this. They're getting it better and better. I find the quality is good. I'm not having any problems with burning or engraving or cutting. The strengths are all there. And the homing is fixed for the Xtool series. The last release candidate 2 had an issue with homing. I know they're going to be having another release candidate come out 4 with some additional fixes. One is the theme, again, changing the icons and things of that nature. You have your shape properties, your macros, as I said, variable text, same thing how I had it before. If I clicked here and double click it, that's how I have it set up, and you can just walk your fonts of which one you like or whichever. And if I move this over a little bit, let me go back one more time. You can see right here as we're going through, you could see the font showing what it would be like. So anyway, so that gives you an idea of the high-level features. It's going to be an awesome release. Like I said, the camera system is working awesome. When they come out with the final, that's when I'll go through the camera calibration, because they are still playing with that, like again, that experimental camera calibration, which is a live view. I want to do that because you can see the one thing I noticed, the calibration I did in 1.706, I brought it over. The edges are a little curved a little bit, if you can see here. So I'm going to try to fix that with running their new calibration. Anyway, I hope this gave you a quick overview of the features and the functions of Release 2.0. So this is coming out. Again, this is Release Candidate 3. They're adding more and more features to this, more capabilities here. If you want, let me just show you what a dual star looks like real quick, or a star. Go there. I'm going to hide the background so we can just play for a sec. And let's see, I'm gonna go here, and I'll go here and go here. Oh, again, I have it in that other mode where once you bring it, it goes to a select mode. So you go right here, and then you can go right here and say, I wanted to fix this one. Again, it's however you work your operations. If you used to clicking and bringing multiple objects over, you go over to edit, go to settings, and then just unswitch this. Now it's just like the older versions. You click here and you just keep going. So I hope this gave you a little food for thought of something coming out. Next week, we're going to be doing a new project with release candidate 2.03 or 04, whichever they can. I want to really get into the bones of it and the functionality. I'm just testing, doing some burns and things like that, and look for some of the additional features in there. Hope this gave you a little food for thought. Till next time, subscribe. Go to my Etsy store if you're interested in the Xtool S1 camera kit. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.